Hey, FootClan, before we start today's show, I want to let you know about something very exciting going on. The Megalodon giveaway is here. You guys are terrifying, just like this giveaway is terrifying. Go to FootClanGiveaway.com. We're giving away a signed David Johnson jersey, a signed Carlos Hyde jersey, a signed Jordan Reed mini helmet, 5 fantasy footballer swag packs, and 3 $50 Modell's gift cards. It is a giveaway to end all giveaways. Head over there, FootClanGiveaway.com.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from the FantasyJocks.com studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Well, the sun rose this morning. It is Wednesday, November 9th, and if you didn't have a cup of coffee, my 2 co-hosts saying the word Megalodon like that surely woke you up today. Welcome into the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, November 9th. We're back.
What's going on, everybody?
Go check out FootClanGiveaway.com. Win something cool. Look, we're here. It's Wednesday. We had a kind of a crazy night. Something incredible happened last night.
Did Mike get verified?
No.
Oh. Not that crazy.
So we're a fantasy football show. I'm going to tell you 3 things I know about this election, and then we'll move on. Number 1, I learned that pre-election polling is as trustworthy as Mike's Twitter account. That's the first thing I learned.
Very true.
That's
very true.
That's very
I
fair.
have no idea if Mike even has a Twitter account.
I really don't know
if
some people are thinking it's a Tyler Durden thing going on and Mike doesn't exist. It's just some combination that we created. Number 2, if we ever become as good at fantasy football as John King from CNN was with that digital map and the drill downs into every county, our listeners are going to be bathing in FootClan titles.
We need to get that guy at the draft.
Forget that. I want that TV.
That TV was really nice.
Yeah.
I wondered if it was, you have the Microsoft logo on there. It's had to be donated. We got to get that hookup.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I learned is that 50% of you are probably happy and 50% of you probably aren't. But 100% of you love fantasy football, and we're going to keep it 100 right here.
Yeah. Keep it 100. You know what else people love from years past?
Oh.
They love our Megalodon shows.
Yeah. And we're doing another one.
Yes.
Were you going to finish talking there? What in the
I
world?
just assumed Mike was going to come in and support me with another Megalodon.
Nope.
No?
No.
All right.
No.
Also, the one thing I learned from your 3 things about what you learned is that you dropped a Fight Club reference, and you had not seen that.
No, I had.
I had to look it up. He had to look up who Tyler Durden was.
No. I had seen Fight Club before. My point was that I had fallen asleep during the surprise ending.
That's
and now I've done that twice.
That's
because I rented it again a few weeks ago to watch the surprise ending, and I fell asleep during it.
You disgust me.
But I've turned over a new leaf. Today's show, guys, we have a great one. Pump the Brakes with O'Reilly Auto Parts is on the we have that segment today. We have news and notes. We have Keep Trade Cut. We have the Thursday night preview, and we have a jam-packed mailbag. So we're going to talk some football because there's football games going on very soon.
It's preferable.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to talk some football. I told you about the giveaway at FootClanGiveaway.com. Check that out. A bunch of new articles on the website as well. But, hey, it is Wednesday. And that only means one thing.
O'Reilly.
Auto Parts.
Ow!
Boom. Pump the brakes with O'Reilly Auto Parts. 3 guys we're pumping the brakes on after big week 9s. 3 names we want to throw out there. Just saying, hey, take it easy.
Well, I will say
Cool it.
Cool your jets,
Mine
mister.
did not. Well, mine had an okay week 9.
I'm interested in yours because I didn't know who it was until just now.
Well, then I'll kick it off, and this is a look towards the future. Look, FootClan, we're all getting ready for that fantasy football playoff push.
Yep.
I am pumping the brakes on a one Big Ben Roethlisberger.
That's interesting.
Because
Very interesting.
I believe that his stats are about to be routhless.
Okay.
What
I
does-
don't know what that
does
means.
that mean?
In a negative way. Look, we've talked about the home splits. I want to bring them up again. Big Ben, since 2014, in 17 games at home, averaging over 30 points a game.
That is very, very good.
On the road in 18 games. So we're talking a very even split sample size, averaging just under 18 points a game. That is a monster difference in performance. And here's where I'm pumping the brakes, getting you ready. Week 14 at Buffalo. Week 15 at Cincinnati. Division game. Look.
On the road.
Yeah, both of these games are on the road for your first 2 weeks of your fantasy playoffs. I don't know if you can withstand a victory if Big Ben, if you're counting on him to put up a huge week. So, I'm not going to pump the brakes at all on the pass catchers. I think they can still have decent games, Antonio Brown and company. But Big Ben, if you're expecting that, he could give me that 4-touchdown game. It's coming any minute now. On the road, we have a large enough sample size of history that Big Ben doesn't get it done on the road that I have my concerns, and I would be trying to find a different quarterback for my playoffs.
And that's really what this segment's about, is who are some players that you have a little bit of concern with moving forward. Jason, why don't you share your pump the brakes candidate?
Sure. The guy that I'm going with is a guy who was my start of the week this past week, and he was okay, bailed out by a touchdown.
Are you flip-flopping?
I'm not flip-flopping. This is what happens with fantasy football is you continue to look at what's in front of you, not what's behind you, and make good decisions going forward. And that's Davante Adams. Davante Adams, look, he's had 3 big weeks in a row. Very big. He's hot. He's on fire, and normally we say stay in the flames. This week, it's not too bad. He's on the road in Tennessee. So I'm not necessarily saying to sit him this week, but I do think that there are many, many teams that he is on that it would be better served to play other assets. But going forward, we got to remember those 3 weeks, they were without any running back, right? They had no James Starks, no Eddie Lacy. Aaron Rodgers had to throw it 1,000,000 times. One of those games, they had no Randall Cobb. One of those games, they had no Ty Montgomery. All 3 of those games were against defenses that were carved up in Chicago, Atlanta, who's known for that, Indianapolis, who's known for that. So now they go into a run of a stretch where they're going to have James Starks back, Randall Cobb back, Ty Montgomery in there, and they face 3 games on the road: Tennessee, Washington, Philadelphia, all 3 decent pass defenses, not elite. Then you've got Houston, which is a bad matchup. And then the playoffs start. Seattle, awful. At Chicago. And then Minnesota. So to me, Davante Adams is a perfect cool the Jets. He's still going to be involved. He's still got Aaron Rodgers passing him the ball. I'm not saying he's a bum. I still think he stinks if he's trying to be a number 1 wide receiver. He's very good at the wide receiver 3. But you need the previous 3 weeks outlook for him to succeed. That's why we made him our start of the week and not the future.
So is he a Limburger? Is the sharp cheddar? Do we need to find a different cheese that's in the middle?
Probably.
Like a Swiss?
Swiss is perfect.
There are holes in
Yes.
the strategy with him. Look, I'm going to call an audible on mine right now. I am.
Ooh.
I am, because I think what you brought up is another guy I'm selling. I'm pumping the brakes on Ty Montgomery overall.
Really?
Yeah, because Ty Montgomery is getting his value out of being the backfield dominator. If you just right now, you say they get Starks back down the stretch, they have a different running back in the backfield. I'm not saying he's taken out of the backfield completely, but what is the upside of Ty Montgomery when you have Davante Adams, Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb,
Jeff Janis?
No, but you're the fourth best wide receiver. If you're just lining him up in 4 wide sets, I don't see the upside. What makes Montgomery attractive right now is the fact that he's carrying the ball well. If he doesn't get that volume, you're in trouble, especially in non-PPR.
But Andy,
Yeah.
what? But Andy, Ty Montgomery was just made RB eligible in Yahoo.
That's what I was going to say.
What is that? Does
It makes him more valuable.
does
Andy.
Mike McCarthy consult that when he builds his depth chart?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I'm going to give an honorable mention, though, to my original pick, Rishard Matthews, only because 5 touchdowns in the last 5 games, which is tied for Mike Evans with the most in the league in the last 5 games. But in that time, his maximum yardage was 70, 3 games with 40 or less yardage. I think it's just mirage worthy. I'd pick somebody else personally. I think these 2 guys like him a little bit more than I do, but I'm going to throw him out there as a possible pump the brakes. And that was Pump the Brakes with O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day. We love that segment. Reminder, you can follow us on Twitter at the FF Ballers. Follow me at Andy Holloway. Follow Jason at JasonFFL. And then follow Mike at FF Hitman. Mike, let's do a status check. Are you verified?
No.
Okay. Okay. We just had to go to the tape.
Look. What are you doing over there? Look, so I put up I got myself a new grill.
I figured that was the case.
Because, look, Arizona, you know what? People are like, winter is coming.
I mean, you can grill now.
I got to get my jackets. And I said, I got to go get a grill.
Yeah, we can go outside. The whole grilling, summer's here and it's time to grill. Oh, that's just such terrible logic in Arizona. Hey, it's
Let's
on
set
fire
some
outside.
fire on fire.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I posted that I had no idea what I was doing, which is very true, because I'm new to this. I'm new to the grill game, everybody. But the ribbing I received under that photo was incredible.
For not being verified?
Yeah.
Before we move into the news, I have to say, unbelievable, heartfelt thank you from everybody here for your support that you poured out, your generosity and your kindness on Election Day, no less, to our good friend Matthew. You went to footclanhelp.com. You have made a meaningful difference that brought my wife to tears yesterday over what you have given. We cannot thank you enough. It is incredible and just a testimony to the kind of people we have listening to the show. It is humbling, and we thank you with every bit of us for supporting somebody going through such a difficult time. He is so thankful to you. I'm telling you right now. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, we should have led the show off with that. You guys,
yeah, that is
are the kindness for a stranger is. I mean,
it lets me know that.
Thank you, FootClan.
After last night, it lets me know that we're okay.
We're gonna be all right.
We're all right, and thank you so much. It means so much. So let's move on. Let's talk some news.
News and notes from around the league.
All right, Andy Reid thinks there's a good chance that Spencer Ware will be ready for Week 10 against the Panthers. Do you guys share Andy Reid's confidence?
I do.
Okay, that's a good sign because he's a lot better than Char West. All right, the ESPN Buccaneers reporter, Jenna Lane, called Jacquizz Rodgers a long shot to play in Week 10. Is this the Peyton Barber experiment in full force?
Yep.
I think it's the Peyton Barber necessity in
Sure.
full force.
Sure. Some experiments are by necessity.
Sure. Okay.
Carlos Hyde remains in a no-contact jersey. I just don't feel like he's going to play. I just don't think he'll get back on the field. What do you guys think?
We saw this. This is exactly how he started out last week. It's, Carlos Hyde is back at practice, but he's in a non-contact jersey. I think I lean towards him not playing this week. Why throw him out there against the hard-hitting Arizona Cardinals defense if you're not willing to have him touched in practice yet?
And he had the sprained AC joint. He's still within the expected timeline, the possible outcomes that they say. So he could miss another week with the shoulder injury. Yeah.
Also, is their offense really hurting with the Dujuan Harris experiment right now?
That was the Saints.
Yeah, the Saints
True.
make everybody look great.
True.
Larry Fitzgerald, you're going to see these reports. He wasn't at practice. Bruce Arians says he's going to play. It's likely he doesn't practice. He's a veteran. He's banged up, so don't fear, but pay attention in case something breaks the wrong direction. We talked about Ty Montgomery now being running back wide receiver eligible in Yahoo. I'm pumping the brakes on him long term. Victor Cruz doesn't expect to miss more than one game.
So he expects to miss a game.
There you go. Ryan Fitzpatrick believes he'll be able to start despite the MCL injury. Okay, start the Rams D no matter what.
Yes.
Tony Romo, medically cleared. Now they say it's in the coach's hands as to when Romo can be active, when he will start, and all of those
things. Is that what Jones
things.
is saying?
No.
Is he watching it?
No.
What's this guy saying?
I don't make the decisions.
I make every decision except for this one.
No, look, the controversy is going to begin, but the question for fantasy owners is he worth a pickup?
Yes.
Do you stash him?
Hey.
Because, look, let's pretend, you're not stashing Alex Smith right now just because he was hurt and then he's sitting there. So taking up a bench spot with a quarterback.
Yeah, I guess I jumped to a yes because I'm so used to Tony Romo has been able to be a good stash on because you could put him in your IR. And he's been labeled as out. If he's back, if he's at practice, he will actually have to be on your bench, and it's just not worth taking up a bench spot to roster a backup quarterback because should Dak Prescott stink it up, which I don't even expect will happen, or get injured and Tony Romo becomes a great waiver pickup, he's going to be a slightly better pickup than other quarterback available on the waivers that week. So he's not worth keeping a bench spot, frozen for the chance at
He's
Tony.
not that difference making as
Right.
a quarterback. Yeah.
Oh, last time, 2000, what was that? 14.
That was a while ago.
But let's caveat there is that you're the biggest proponent of you ride the matchup guy into the playoffs to win. I think Romo was just that for you. I mean, he didn't end the year as a top 5 quarterback. He just ended the year in that stretch,
right,
winning your fantasy league. So Phillip Rivers might be that guy this year. There are other candidates for that
I'd
role.
rather have Rivers. If I'm in a super flex or a 2 QB though, I might pick him up.
Yeah, in those leagues, it is worth it.
All right, let's move on.
Keep, trade, cut.
More and more trade deadlines on the way for fantasy owners. It's time to play a game of keep, trade, cut with a number of big names. Tell me what you guys are thinking about a number of these players, where you're leaning, what you would do with them if you are an owner. Let's start at the quarterback position. What do you do with Eli Manning and Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson.
Eli Manning. I mean, was he owned? Did anyone play Eli last week? If a tree falls in the forest,
I guess the answer is trade if you do own him.
Yeah, I don't think you're
Based
going
on
to be
that.
able to get much for him unless there's a Giants fan
Sure.
in your league. For me, he is almost still a cut. And the reason why for me is because if you look at which games he has gone off, and he's had a few big monster games, they're not really the games that you would predict. And the games that you would predict, like that New Orleans game, he has stunk. So when it comes to predicting, okay, this is the week to start him, he's a little bit more difficult than, say, a Ben Roethlisberger, where you look at that home road split and you've got a little bit of clues as to when those touchdowns are going to come. The touchdowns come for Eli when Odell Beckham breaks a big play. And that can happen against a good defense. That can happen against a bad defense.
I feel like you need to wear a blindfold as an Eli Manning owner this year. You just put it on, and you mute the TV, and you just hope at the end you have enough statistics.
It's so fabulous. You have the New Orleans, the Washington game, Green Bay. These are beatable secondaries. Just atrocious for fantasy. But then you have Philly, who's considered one of the top defenses. You have Baltimore, considered one of the best defenses in the league.
That's because
That's when he went bananas.
Eli's the Deshaun Jackson of the quarterback position. He really is. You don't know when it's coming, but if it does, you're happy.
Brace yourself.
You don't. There's
Now,
there's other options. So
on
Russell
the
Wilson.
Russell Wilson side,
Keep, trade, cut.
He is a 100% keep for me. I said this
Okay.
last week. I haven't really wavered on this. Now we are to the point last year where we are the exact week that we are in last year where Russell Wilson started his great move forward. If you compare the fantasy points that he had to this point last year, it was pretty darn near the same. It was 1 week after their week 9 bye. And so I think you hold on to Russell Wilson. You saw last game that he was able to move a little bit better. He did not look like old Russell Wilson where he can just, outrun everybody and avoid those hits because he's really smart with how he runs. But he did run a little bit. He picked up some first down yardage with his legs. And it says to me, and nothing happened in that game to say, oh, he's going to be hurting more tomorrow morning and the next morning. So I think he is going to heal up as the season goes along. And
so he is a keep for you. Mike, what is he for you?
I'm going to go with a trade. Look, and Russell Wilson is a quarterback. When healthy, I think he can rise above a bad matchup. But here's what is coming up for Russell Wilson. New England this week, one of the best, very underrated. In New England. Philadelphia the next week. 2 weeks later, Carolina. His playoff schedule is Green Bay, Rams, Arizona.
This seems like the time where if you're in that camp and you do believe he's a trade, you wait for a game like what he had this last week to kind of reinvigorate his name in people's minds so that you can move him. Let's try to go through a few of these other ones kind of quick here. Big Ben, keep, trade, cut.
Keep.
Yeah, I would keep for now, but if you can get
did you not just pump the brakes on him?
I'm keeping him for now. I'm saying my pump the brakes was I'm looking at the fantasy playoffs. But if your trade deadline is coming up, then I'll trade him.
Yeah,
Tyrod Taylor and Matthew Stafford both on bye this week. Keep, trade, cut. Tyrod Taylor.
I'm going to keep them both.
Yep.
Okay. Let's move to the running back position. Keep, trade, cut. Terrance West. Great question.
I'm going to keep Terrance West. I pointed this out in the office yesterday off the air that we were all surprised when you looked that Terrance West got 15 carries last week. He wasn't. You had Kenneth Dixon get 9 carries, but that didn't stop Terrance West from having enough opportunity. They just were selling out to stop the run. Kenneth Dixon didn't do any better than Terrance West did with his 9 carries.
No, they were both really bad.
Right. So I would rather have the lead guy who has shown that he's all right. I would keep him.
I'm going out on a limb here. I'm going to say this right now with the Thursday night game tomorrow. I believe this is the week in which you see a changing of the guard with Kenneth Dixon. I think you're going to have – I'm going to predict that Kenneth Dixon out-touches Terrance West in the Thursday night game.
Yeah, my position here is I am talking to whoever has Kenneth Dixon saying, hey, why don't you hedge your bets here? I'll trade you Terrance West. You can own that Baltimore backfield. Why don't you give me a little something-something?
Yep, a little something-something. All right, before we move on to the rest of the running backs, I'm going to give you a little something-something on the Fandings app, the sponsor of today's show, good friends of the show. Fandings. Fandings is the best place to find other fans just like you to discuss sports. It's completely free. You can download it on your iPhone right now. They are a growing platform. They are always adding new features. I just talked to Drew over there who helps run the Fandings app, which is built for sports fans, and they are releasing an all-new monthly leaderboard and player rankings. You can earn trophies in this app. It is look, every debate that a sports fan has needs a winner, and in the Fandings app, debates are judged by popular vote. So it is a really cool app that we encourage you to check out. It's completely free, and so help build the only social network for sports fans. Fandings features, like I said, tons of different questions. You can debate your friends. You can face off against random opponents, and they're judged and juried right there in the app. So download Fandings free in the App Store or by going to fandings.com. Let them know that the Fantasy Footballers sent you. All right?
And
check it out.
We want to thank the best sports memorabilia site of all time, pristineauction.com, where you are getting 100% authentic signatures on all kinds of gear. I personally love the jerseys. Look, I'm getting them. I'm checking daily because Pristine Auction has new, unique items up for bid on the regular. On the regular, every single day, they have new items, as well as their weekly and their elites, like big ticket items. You can look, if you go to our YouTubes, FootClan, you can see Odell Beckham on the wall. We had to swing by Pristine Auction yesterday because
Mike surprised me.
I got my man Andy. I know his love for Arian Foster. And I got him that red Arian Foster jersey signed.
That red nice. Texans jersey just fantasy points actually came falling out of the jersey for me.
I was disappointed that you did not buy him the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, no, you got to go back. Jersey. So check them out, man.
Yeah, so look, Pristine Auction, I'm telling you, just if you've held off to this point, just give it a little peek ski. And I'm telling you, you're going to say, wow, there's some stuff on here that and I can afford. I can make my office. I can deck out. I can get
send
my
us pictures. Send us pictures.
Yeah. So check it out, Pristine Auction, PRISTINE auction.com.
All right, back into Keep Trade Cut. Todd Gurley, Keep Trade Cut, guys.
Keep or trade for? I pumped the brakes.
I'd trade for him.
I pumped the brakes on him. I think it was about a month ago because of the last stretch that he's been in, and we've seen some tough stuff. But we're nearing that trade deadline. We're nearing towards the playoffs, and I love his end of season schedule. I saw someone in our listener league. I believe it was our listener league actually traded for him. And if you're both listening, which I assume you are, the one that got Todd Gurley won that trade.
All right.
Sorry.
I'm with you on that one, guys. Ryan Mathews, keep trade, cut.
You
Sorry.
can cut him.
Yeah,
That was
I
me.
think so.
Rashad Jennings.
Ooh.
I think Rashad Jennings is the perfect example of you keep him because running back depth is so important, but you're not excited about it, and you just kind of, if you need him, you can play him.
Can you say the same thing about Ryan Matthews? I mean,
Yeah.
he might get like 3
yes.
snaps,
Yes.
but a touchdown is
You
one of those 3.
You could say that. So.
Yeah, I mean, those are.
I mean, that's
are-
kind of the running back story, though. Are there any of these guys that you're really just blatantly cutting out of spite? I mean, for me, it's Ryan Matthews. But other than that,
Yeah, Rashad Jennings, Jerick McKinnon, Matt Asiata, those guys.
Jacquizz Rodgers. I mean,
Jacquizz Rodgers is
I
the
would
one
keep
guy.
him.
that's what I'm saying. You don't cut those guys. They're running
Right.
backs.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm okay moving on from Minnesota. I think the Minnesota is those are the running backs where throw on the wire. You're like, oh, I have a bye week. Hey, look, there's the Minnesota running backs. I'll pick them up, and I'm going to get 3 points. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, you also have a three-headed monster there in Minnesota now. It's not just McKinnon and Asiata, but Ronnie Hillman was involved.
It's a two-headed monster, and then there's the annoying little brother.
Okay. All right. Let's talk some wide receivers. All right. Keep
Okay.
trade cut. Let's fly through these guys. Dez Bryant.
Keep.
Yeah, I'm going to keep him.
Marvin Jones.
Oh, what do you do with Marvin Jones?
I think you just have to keep him.
You keep him.
Ride it out?
Yeah, you play based on
You keep him
matchups.
with a fake smile. That's what you do. Jeremy Maclin.
You can cut him.
I'm fine cutting Jeremy Maclin or package trading him away.
He's
Yeah.
hurt. He's not producing. He's in an offense that doesn't lend itself to offensive production for the wide receiver. There's better options.
I thought you were describing Ryan Matthews for a second. Kelvin Benjamin.
Keep him.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you keep him. I just
Do you
can't.
trade for Benjamin, or are you just status quo?
I'm status quo right now. I find myself not able to quit Kelvin Benjamin. I just can't. Like, he got off to that hot start, and I just believe. I believe that it's going to continue, and I'm disappointed almost every week for where I have him ranked.
That's about how you feel about Cam Newton, then, too.
It is.
Right? Because, I mean, you expect
It's
they need to,
identical.
Newton should pass the ball to Kelvin, and then they'd have more fantasy points.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me
Don't
make
you
a
know
note
how
of this.
this
I'm going to
works?
talk to Cam and
Can
let
you
him
write
know.
that down and send him a
Pass
I mean, you have a verified Twitter, so you can obviously
to
connect with some of these.
Kelvin.
Look, Kelvin
Pass to Kelvin.
Kelvin
Yeah.
has been at 70 yards or more the last 4 weeks. I mean,
Sure.
that he's giving you solid production.
Add in the end zone there. Could you
Yes.
add that to the end of it?
Touchdown.
All right, keep trade cut. Brandon Marshall, one of the more disappointing superstar quality guys. I mean, I'll be honest. I went in and made a little trade in my dynasty league. Some trade offers trying to unload Marshall.
You're trying to get rid of him?
Yeah.
Well, it's a
That- look,
dynasty. He's got
Brooklyn.
very little.
FootClan, you got to sell. If Andy has finally turned on Brandon Marshall, things are dire.
Here's the problem. I mean, last year you saw a methodical game script from this team each and every week where there was a consistency to target totals, to red zone opportunities, and I don't for a second believe that Brandon Marshall can't deliver monstrous weeks for you. What I don't believe is that he will do it consistently because this offense is too all over the place. Now you got an MCL injury. Bryce Petty could end up in the game. No Eric Decker. Anunwa pooped the bed last week. You know, you have a different backfield. I just don't like the feeling surrounding this team.
No one likes the feeling of a poopy bed.
No.
It-
You of all people know that.
Oh, no.
Not the bed, man.
That was a car.
Oh, yeah, that was in the car. This is why show up to the shows are special. We got to keep bringing every time if that happens, just bring it up. We'll do a show to the show.
Okay.
All right, let's go. Willie Snead, keep trade cut.
You can cut him if you need to.
I would definitely.
Stefon Diggs, sell high or keep him, or what do you do? I love the target totals, but I think we liked the opportunity last week. What do you think?
They're not able to run the ball. You saw the offensive coordinator change, which instituted the West Coast offense, of which he was the number one beneficiary of. I think you just keep him and hold on and see if this is what it looks like moving forward.
I really like what I saw last week. That he was second in the entire league in targets behind Mike Evans last week. Like you said, West Coast, PPR leagues, I really like Stefon Diggs. T.Y. Hilton, you're keeping him, right?
Yes, you are. I'm not trying to trade him.
Interesting stat on T.Y. Hilton. Only less than 25% of the team's targets the past 2 weeks, which is abnormal for him. I'm sure Dante Moncrief had something to say about that.
Moncrief and the hamstring. So the bye week is perfectly timed here for T.Y.
Allen Hurns.
You can cut him.
Travis Benjamin.
You can cut him.
Yeah.
Cole Beasley. Beasles himself.
You definitely have to keep him. I know some people have.
You guys are looking at each other like you have.
Mike is.
What do we think?
No, Mike is staring me down, saying, "Oh, who's the number one wide receiver for Dallas?" And it's Dez Bryant. But
I hate Mike's voice. That's exactly what it sounded like.
I hate Mike's beard. I hate Mike's man bun.
You can hate the truth all you want. Doesn't stop it from being accurate.
Yeah, you hold on to Cole Beasley. He is a valuable plug and play in any kind of PPR format wide receiver. I'm not trading for him.
Sure. No, I give that a blue check mark. You're right.
He is the type of guy, though, where if I can include him in a package trade because someone else sees, hey, I can start this guy and it's valuable and I can upgrade to a stud. In fact, I think in that Todd Gurley trade that I spoke of earlier, if I remember it correctly, Cole Beasley was in the trade to get him. So I'd be completely willing to trade him or keep him.
All right, some tight end options. I really want to know this one. Asking for a friend. Kobe Fleener, keep, trade, cut.
Depends on what's available to stream on the waiver wire. My position on Fleener is still the same. He's part of the Barfy tight ends, but he at least his head can poke out from the sewage because his ceiling is
Drew Brees.
Yes, and exactly why he's still above the other guys in that area for me.
Yeah, he's a streamer. Same with I know the next guy we're going to talk about, very similar to me in Gary Barnidge. He is, when you look to the waiver wire, right, these are just streaming tight ends. They are Gary Barnidge, Kobe Fleener. They are nothing more right now than streaming tight ends. But every time that I have one of those two players on my team and I go to look at a better matchup, I think to myself, well, Cleveland's going to be down every game. So they're going to be passing the ball, and they're going to need Barnidge. Drew Brees is the quarterback for Fleener. So both of these guys are involved enough and have the high enough upside where I usually end up keeping them over the other waiver options.
Important question. Do people name their kids Gary anymore? I feel like that name has been very underutilized now. I mean, you used to have the Gary Paytons of the world. Gary Sheffields of the world.
Wow.
Gary Barnidge.
So the answer is no.
I don't think people are calling their kids Gary anymore.
I apologize to the listener who just named their child Gary.
I applaud that listener.
Yeah.
I say bring it back. All right, Kyle Rudolph, keep, trade, cut.
Oh, keep him. Keep him, the touchdown machine.
He's above. I would much rather have Kyle Rudolph over Kobe Fleener or Gary
Especially
Barnidge
for the holidays.
Right?
The red zone reindeer?
I think that's science.
All right, Thursday night preview, and then we're jumping into the mailbag, answering listener questions, helping you win your Week 10 matchups. What game are you not looking forward to more than the 0-9 Cleveland Browns against the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday Night Football? This game is a toss-up. Baltimore's favored by 10 is what I meant to say.
The network has been pushing this game, I feel like, for 3 weeks. Just please watch this football game.
Do you know how they have the promos for these games and they feature one player on each side? Who are they featuring for the Browns?
It's Terrell Pryor.
Okay.
As they should. He is their only really good. I mean, I think
Are
Corey
they begging
Coleman has
Manziel to come back for Thursday night?
Oh, how about this stat? The last Cleveland Browns starting quarterback to have a victory is Johnny Manziel. He was their last starting victory. Remember that guy?
Oh, that's rough. Oh, man. But, look, there's no one. Okay, it's not no one. The Pryor is fine. But are you really playing anyone with any sort of confidence from the Cleveland Browns against the Baltimore Ravens?
Yeah, I'll play Pryor. That's it.
That's my prior.
I would also, I guess that is almost it. I would probably play Barnage as well.
Barnage, but
I don't have the confidence to play Crowell. I don't have the confidence to play
Duke Johnson,
Corey
Coleman,
or Duke Johnson.
The Ravens are historically very good against tight ends.
Well, the Ravens are second against the run, 7th against the pass, so they're a good defense altogether. They're at home. This has the makings of a massacre. It's part of the reason I like Kenneth Dixon as a deep league flyer this week on a Thursday night game in which I think there could just be garbage time to run the clock out.
The only tight end.
Watch Cleveland win by 2 touchdowns. This is the NFL. Watch it.
Not going to happen.
Okay.
Look, tight ends against the Ravens, a high of 68 yards this year, a low of 0 yards.
How many of those guys were named Gary, though?
Probably 0.
No, it's a fair.
Nope,
it's a fair point.
I take it back because they already played Cleveland, so one of them was.
And how did he do last game?
The week two against Cleveland, the tight end position overall was held 4 for 37.
Yeah, and this is not
0
just this
touchdowns.
year.
So in other words, stream a different guy.
Yeah,
That's what I would
agree.
do.
This week is a bad week. Last year for the Ravens, I believe they were the number 1 defense against tight ends as well. So this is a large enough sample size to know they defend that position very well.
All right, we flip to the other side. The headliners for me, you talk about Terrance West and Dixon, and then Steve Smith Sr. and Mike Wallace, and Dennis Pitta. So how do you feel about the Baltimore side of things?
Great.
Joe Flacco is my stream of the week, so I'm rolling him out there, especially if you're one of those, Andrew Luck owners from this week. I'm okay floating Flacco out there and getting some points.
Yeah, you could potentially have a game where Mike Wallace and Steve Smith both have very big games alongside Dennis Pitta. All 3 of those guys could have enough production individually to start all 3. I'm
starting Jim Harbaugh in this game.
That means
John
Flacco. Joe Flacco should be okay.
All of them.
Now, what about the running game? You think that?
I think you could start Terrance West tonight. I just think this is the game where I think
tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Maybe tonight if you're listening on Thursday.
Fair enough.
I think you can start.
Yesterday.
You start both guys. This is the Cleveland Browns, 23rd against the pass, 31st against the run. That's almost dead last. They're at home. They're going to wear them down. We saw this last week. Roll them out there. So, man, Browns defense have allowed 21.8 points per game.
This is a perfect picture of, you talk about streaming tight ends. If I had Gary Barnage and Dennis Pitta was on the waivers, I'm fine dropping Barnage
that's a great
to pick
example.
up Pitta.
Yeah. All right, it's time. Let's get into the mailbag.
Mailbag.
Yeah. Well done. All right. If you have a question for the show, for the Fantasy Footballers, go to our website, thefantasyfootballers.com. Click that questions button in the upper right-hand corner. You can check out the website. There's lots of good stuff over there as well. And you can also dial our voicemail hotline, 302-464-TFFB. Leave us a voicemail question about your team, about what's going on, commish questions, anything you got. We're here to answer them on the show. So we're jumping right into the mailbag, and we're doing it right now. I'll start with Daniel in Brazil.
Bonjour, Daniel.
Do I trade Eifert for Michael Thomas with Jordan Reed and Antonio Gates already on my roster and having a lack of wide receivers on my team?
Wait, Daniel.
Why do you have 3 tight ends?
No, you're telling me you have Eifert, Reed, and Gates.
Lack of wide receivers.
But you don't have wide receivers?
The answer is yes. The answer is yes. I mean, you're describing why some trades are very, very team dependent.
Look, I get it. Those are 3. I like those 3 tight ends, but you got to make a move here. I'm going to move Eifert for Thomas. If that's the best you can get,
that was
Eifert.
what I was going to ask. Is do you think that he could move either Eifert or Jordan Reed for a better wide receiver than Michael Thomas, and would that be better for him because he clearly has plenty of options?
Yeah, maybe.
In general, this would help your
That's
team.
another option for you. But
if you could, I would prefer to move Gates, who had the big game, and then Reed and Eifert.
Yep. Yeah. So all right, let's jump into a voicemail question now. Here we go.
Hey, what's up, FootClan? This is Lewis. I love you guys' show. Real quick, I have Jameis Winston in my lineup. I also have Derek Carr and Latavius Murray. And I also have Le'Veon Bell. My running back game is good. I also have Riddick. This one guy that's out of the playoffs has Evans. He wants me to trade for him Derek Carr and Latavius Murray for Mike Evans. Do I do the trade? Do I not? It's a PPR, full PPR league. Guys, I love you guys. Best show I've ever heard on fantasy. Made me delete all the other podcasts that I had that were on fantasy about a year ago. Guys, thanks again. Please, 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 please answer my question. Please, I need this for the playoffs, guys. Playoffs.
Playoffs.
I love it. I love it. I do the trade.
In a vacuum, I also do the trade.
Lev Bell and Riddick are more than enough to get you through. I really love Riddick. Was almost a rising star for me this week on the snap count. So for me, PPR league, heck yeah, I do it. I stack Evans with Jameis. I ship out Carr and Murray. We like Jameis's end-of-season schedule, and I ride Mike Evans and maybe he's a top 3 wide receiver.
No, I forgot that he said it was a PPR with Theo Riddick. You're fine.
Yeah.
Theo Riddick, Le'Veon Bell. Obviously, you hurt your depth, so
Yeah,
one
I
of
hope
them
you
goes
have
down.
some depth.
But to win the championship, you need the best players, and Mike Evans is going to help you get that done.
And this
I
is
like the trade.
Yeah, and this is a chance for you to go out and make sure you have, after you do this trade, if you do it, go out and make sure you have D'Angelo Williams. Because if you don't have running back depth, if you can handcuff those two guys, you're safe.
Can't handcuff Theo Riddick. Theo Riddick goes down, nobody steps up into that role.
I would sign Dwayne Washington.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah,
He's
fair
not
enough.
going to do anything for you.
That's quite lucky that someone out of the playoffs is willing to make this trade with you. If this is only a redraft,
No, I'm sure it must be a keeper league. Otherwise, why would they?
That's
Maybe
what-
they want Derek Carr for
that's
the
what I'm
future.
saying. It's bizarre. But why would you trade Evans?
I was going to say it's very rare for someone with Mike Evans right now to be out of the playoff run. That's
Sure,
the other
yeah.
thing. All right, running back question, a depth question from Eric in Italy.
Oh, buongiorno.
Would you rather have James Starks or Deion Lewis sitting on your bench?
Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis
Okay.
for me for sure.
Okay.
I want the upside.
All right, Elizabeth in San Diego. You see that they did not pass the stadium bill yesterday.
That's
Not
what I
only
hear.
did they not pass, they full on rejected. That was not a. It was
didn't
not
even
a
get
close.
didn't get the 2/3. Now you're talking L.A. maybe for the Chargers, which makes me feel bad. We've got good friends that are Chargers fans.
And
I
all
can't
can
imagine
say
losing
is
your team.
if you are in San Diego, and your team leaves, some people are going to travel with them emotionally, and some people aren't. And if you're not, welcome to Arizona.
Yeah, the Cardinals. Why not the Cards?
I was
Have
going
be
to
your
give
new-
the consolation of if your team leaves, at least you're still in San Diego.
That's true.
It's a pretty nice consolation prize. It's a nice place to live. All right,
They should buy winter grills as well.
all right, what are the footballers' thoughts on switching to a keeper league in the middle of this season?
Don't do it.
No.
To be clear, this would mean choosing a keeper for next year now
Nope.
in week 10.
Yeah,
Nope.
you can't do it. Nobody drafted with that. Nobody made the early season waiver pickups and trades based on who they might keep. Now is when you can decide that you're going to do it.
There is one case in which you can do it.
100% vote.
100%.
Sure.
And I mean not a heated I talk you into it. Everybody comes together and they're like, we all want to do this and we want to do it right now 100%. Otherwise, and it sounds like that's not the case. She said that things are getting heated.
Yeah,
so if
then-
that's the case, you just wait.
Wait till next year.
Yeah, vote. Say now we're going to make it a keeper league starting next year. So who you draft, use this strategy of a keeper league, which
Yeah.
to be clear is almost the same strategy as a redraft.
Sure. And if I want to if you want to do something before, because let's be honest, if you wait till next year, you have to go through the whole season and then they first make their keeper picks. You want an alternate to that? Have a keeper draft. Have a random keeper draft in the middle of the summer. If you want one guy on your team or something, people can draft them oriented towards keepers. It's just another idea. So, trade question from Raphael in Peoria, Arizona.
Oh, hello, neighbor.
Yeah, need help at running back and tight end. Was offered Ajayi and Olsen for his Mike Evans.
If you need help at those positions, I think I would.
I find another way to get help at those
Yep,
positions.
that's exactly what I'm thinking.
So
here.
this is a 1 yes vote and 2 no votes.
This is when you say you need help, I don't know what you have outside of Mike Evans. Because if it's Julio Jones and somebody else, then sure. But most likely, you don't have somebody that's going to help you like Mike Evans will.
Yeah.
So you're right. Yeah, that's the way the vote breaks down.
Yeah,
right now.
hopefully you have another stud wide receiver and a good enough crop to get rid of Mike Evans. You're going to take a hit there.
All right.
But I'm a yes.
Dan in Milwaukee, I have Murray, Shady, Sproles, and Coleman as his running backs. He's in good shape to make the playoffs. So would you pick up Gillislee and drop Coleman, right? So he's got Murray, Shady kind of leading the way on his running back core. Do you drop Tevin Coleman to pick up Gillislee and handcuff your Shady?
Man.
I think I
do.
That's really hard because when you have a player that you can kind of start outside the framework of a handcuff, I think I do because of the Coleman injury. If he was lighting the world on fire, you wouldn't need to.
I'm going to throw this out there and say that most of the time that I get questions exactly like this, there is an alternate wide receiver that you can drop. You might have a Willie Snead, and you're not thinking about, maybe that's your only your fourth wide receiver or something, and so you're not willing to drop him because you think you need depth. But the depth that you can find on a weekly start, if need be, from the waiver is okay. So if you've got a cuttable wide receiver, I would be willing to do that, even if it leaves your perceived wide receiver depth a little empty.
And Tevin Coleman has played 7 games, right? So we just finished week 9. He's played 7 games. He's still the running back 17 in standard formats.
So you do not do it. You try to find another way.
Yeah, you got to find another way.
All right. It's also possible. Yeah, I'm going to throw this out there, too. It's possible Gillislee just sits on your waiver wire.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't have to make this move for a week or two.
It's very possible he sits on the wire. The thing is you're doing that preventative pickup. Because
so you don't fight over
him. If he's on the waiver wire, someone else is likely to get
And,
him,
of course,
just percentage-wise.
The strategy that I always use, it doesn't come to mind because in our league of record, the trade deadline is passed, but I know that this coming week is the normal trade deadline for most people. In every situation where I'm like, I really want to pick this guy up, but I don't have someone to drop, I am always, always, always looking to package trade. If you're considering, do I drop Tevin Coleman? I mean, you can package Tevin Coleman with one of your wide receivers, go to the Devontae Freeman owner and say, do you want this for the slightly better wide receiver? Upgrade your lineup, pick up the guy, then it helps your team and it's probably good for the other owner as well.
Here is a great question from Buck in Charlotte, North Carolina. He says, at what point do you abandon these must-start defenses like Minnesota or Denver? You can throw Philly in there as well. When do you abandon these must-start defenses? And do you?
I
mean, you saw last week you got negative points from Denver.
Yeah.
Do you just roll them out there still?
Sometimes it's going to happen in matchups you don't expect, like last week. But, for instance, this week, Denver, I don't have them in my top 12 defenses on the road, or you could say at home for Drew Brees, which is what matters there. I think it's just matchup dependent, and really it's not just matchup dependent on who your team, your Minnesota, your Philadelphia, your Denver is playing, but what the alternate is as well. I mean, if you don't like the matchup, there has to be someone that you love. You're not going to start a middle-of-the-road defense against a middle-of-the-road matchup over your great defense with a bad matchup. You're going to go out there and say, oh, look, the Rams this week are playing.
Rams or Jets over Denver this week?
Rams for sure. I would play the Rams over the Jets. I think I would probably play them over Denver as well, but not if I had to cut someone that mattered too much.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into one more question here. Eric in Connecticut, in a quarterback pinch with the bye-apocalypse continuing, would you trade Stafford for Winston knowing what lies ahead for both players?
Yeah, I think I would. I'd rather have Winston. You get the extra week. That's the schedule for Jameis Winston is very in his favor coming up. I mean, so you have Chicago this week, Kansas City. We'll see on that one. Then you have Seattle. That's tough. But then Chargers, Saints, Dallas. Dallas Saints. So I would do it. I would get Jameis over Stafford.
Yeah,
right
especially if you actually need the start. Because I would not recommend starting Matthew Stafford this week.
And here's Stafford's
It's as simple to me as he's got Mike Evans.
Sure.
It really changes things for me with Winston.
Stafford has a fine fantasy playoff schedule, but the thing is, let's say you need to win right now. The next 3 weeks for Matthew Stafford, bye week, Jacksonville, Minnesota. Things could go sideways for Stafford in both of those matchups.
There you have it. There you have it. Thank you for all of the questions. You can continue to submit those on the website. You can also check out our fantasy community where we're answering we and the FootClan are answering thousands of questions every week, and that is at jointhefoot.com. So come join with us over there. Join the community. Get an extra episode every week. We're actually recording our bonus episode today.
Bonus.
Yeah. So that is it for today's show. We'll get to the...
don't forget about...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, these two very sick individuals. The Megalodon giveaway. All you do is go to footclangiveaway.com and just enter. Just enter the giveaway. That's it.
The Megalodon was so ferocious for Jason, he has lost his headphones.
I lost my mind.
I'm going to go ahead and close the show out now.
Hey, thank you to
footclangiveaway.com.
And thank you, as always, to fantasyjocks.com, where winners go for fantasy football gear. The promo code is Footballers.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.